Good evening, everyone. It is Monday, June the 10th. The time is 7 p.m. Call to order this regular meeting of the Town Council. And I would like to welcome our council who are here this evening. Come on in. And regrets from Councillor Doucette, who is not able to be here tonight. Welcome to our CAO, Mr. Baker, our Municipal Clerk, Kim Casely, our Police Chief, Louis Sutherland, and we also have some special guests here this evening, and I know one is Lorraine McDonald, and we'll have them all introduced. Well, I guess I may know a few more than that, but anyway, we'll get Lorraine to introduce you all later on. And yes, there's, Louis is going to, we're going to get a couple more chairs. There's one more over there. I would also like to welcome all those who may be viewing our Town Council meeting online. Welcome this evening. Before we start, I want to acknowledge that the land upon which we gather is the unceded Mi'kmaq territory and is covered by the historic treaties of peace and friendship. We pay our respects to the indigenous Mi'kmaq people who have occupied this island for over 12,000 years, past, present, and future. Thank you, everyone, for coming. And to start, we'll start with the agenda is before you. I don't have any additions or deletions to the agenda, so if I could have a motion to adopt the agenda as presented. So moved by Councillor Toombs, second by Councillor Glant. All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, Council. Any declarations of conflict of interest on any of the topics we're bringing forward tonight, Council? Hearing none, we'll move right along to item number 4. And item number 4 is to welcome our guests this evening. And Lorraine, I guess, are you the presenter tonight? Or whoever's presenting? What I would do is I would invite you, perhaps what you could do is if you can go to that microphone that Bonnie's, Councillor McRae's desk, and if you can introduce everyone who's here, and then the floor is yours. Whoever's presenting. All right.
We're the Kensington Pickleball Club.
Yeah, perhaps you can go right to the microphone. This is all recorded and it's live streamed online, so
okay.
So if you're not speaking into the mic, the people at home won't be able to hear you. So that's why we have you go to the mic.
Okay. I just want to thank you for having us here, the Kensington Pickleball Club, and I'll introduce Paul McGuire, Marlene Mose, Clark. Joanne Boyer, Brenda McCollum, and Kevin Blackhair. And I believe, Paul, you have some notes. If you'd like to.
All right. And so, Paul, if you want to go to the mic.
Sure. My name is Paul McGuire. I'm the Vice President of Kensington Pickleball. And this is going to be like a quick down and dirty of who we are and what our ask is of the city. Our club is roughly a year and a half old, and our membership is sitting now at 72 people. And to give you a bit of numbers, there's roughly 37 million people playing pickleball in North America. So if you take, say, the same demographic from a Canadian perspective, there's probably about 2 million people playing pickleball in Canada right now. And it's deemed online, anywhere you go, it's one of the fastest growing sports in North America. We play indoors twice a week at the junior high school. And we're averaging around 30 to 40 people per night. And it got so busy this year, which is the first time that I've seen it in 3 years playing there, that we had to divide the times into two different time zones or timelines, because there's nothing worse than people 60 years of age and over that are crotchety, impatient, and want to play pickleball, period. I'm a very firm believer, and this may be optimistic, is if you build it, they will come. I could easily say within 2 years, if the town of Kensington had pickleball courts, our membership would double, just like that. And I can throw a couple of stats at you too. The biggest one would be, I'm also a member of the Summerside Pickleball Club. We started in 2019, just prior to COVID, with 35 members. The numbers came out today, matter of fact. Like right now, we're sitting at 115 members, and that's paid per $100 per year, basically. And bottom line is, my ask is the Canada Games Legacy Fund announced about 3 weeks ago that they have $5.5 million to give to communities. Very simple. We were looking at doing it ourselves, however, we're new, we don't have a lot of clout. And the bottom line is, I think if we partnership with the town of Kensington, I think it's extremely doable in terms of getting it done and having outdoor courts here that are available, say, from middle of April to the middle, I'll say the 1st November, very simple, which is what they're playing in Summerside right now. Right. The timelines on the Legacy Fund is, they opened up, I believe, May 18th, and it's finished September 30th. So, and it was released to the public too, so there are going to be quite a few organizations looking to access that funding. And off on a personal note, I live in Stanley Bridge, and I play in the city of Summerside now, but I would not even play there very often if there are courts here in Kensington, because it's 50 minutes away. And another factor too is in Summerside, I've seen it in the summertime, I'll say at least 15% of the people are from the Cavendish to London area coming into there to play. So if we're situated geographically halfway between that, where are they going to play? They're going to play here. And the Summerside organization got so popular for a couple of reasons, basically. Philip Cameron and Colleen Cameron are the current presidents, and they're do-getters. They're very proactive. They've had youth clinics, they've had beginner clinics, and they've had tournaments. And their membership, they were the first members, they were the first club on the island, basically, 4 years ago. So now there's 4 other clubs on the island, too. But that being said, they've really been very smart in terms of positioning themselves with the city of Summerside and opening up clinics, opening up beginner clinics. And one other factor, too, the demographics of pickleball is going down. When I played 5 years ago, I would say the average age was 60. Now it's down to 47 years of age, too. So there's more young people getting involved, too. And I think if we tap into that market, I think it would be a huge membership for us from the Pickleball Association. Any questions?
I was just going to ask a couple of questions.
Sure.
When you're talking for an outdoor court.
Exactly.
Now, how many courts? Like there's the court up at the high school. What there's the 3 nets there?
Good point.
Are you what size? And
we played there a couple times basically, but there and you got to keep in mind that's with the school board. They are owned by the school board, so they're not going to. From what I've heard, they don't want to change those courts whatsoever. Where the Willamette Community Center was like a community court, so they were tennis courts, and they changed them over to pickleball courts. Ideally, we're looking at 6 to 8 courts basically in terms of.
So that's what your ask is, like 6 to 8 courts.
Exactly.
About
Yes.
twice the size of the one that's up there. Is
Pretty
that what
much.
you're saying?
And the ones outdoor, they're really not induced to play. The ones in Summerside, you may have like 5 feet behind the courts. There, it's about 15 to 20 feet. So it's like tennis. Like tennis, it's revived a little bit, but pickleball has taken on a lot of these facilities over for the simple reason numbers. Like you can get 8 people on a same size tennis court, basically, whereas you only have 4 people on a pickleball court or 4 people on a tennis court.
Do you have any idea of what the cost of a pickleball court, 6 to 8 courts, the size, and
yep.
I mean, forgetting the cost of
Sure.
land, but
Yep.
just the construction cost of one of them? would
The
be?
total costing for the Summerside courts, now this was 4 years ago too, was $35,000 basically. Now with inflation and everything else, am I going to double that? That's not my particular knowledge base.
Is it a paved surface?
It was a paved surface, but they put a rubberized coating over the top of it, right? And it has worked wonders too, I have to admit. I've seen people fall, because if you play it on asphalt, you're looking for damages galore, for God's sake.
And then there's
but
a
the
fence.
rubberized,
And that fence around it?
they have a fence. Now, they did partner with the city of Summerside too, and they put like a windscreen around that too.
Right.
I think that costs around $10,000. I could be off by maybe 10% or so, I guess.
Right.
But and again too, I know that the Summerside Association is looking at putting indoor courts in the dome. So they're looking at accessing the Canada Games Fund too, basically.
Yeah.
And the good or bad thing about me is this: I've been on the island for 35 years now, so I have no bias towards Summerside or Kensington or whatever. So I guess I kind of shoot from the hip type of thing. But Summerside has quite a few facilities based on Canada Games. I don't know what Kensington has, so our ask is basically, we should be one of the first ones in the queue to look at getting a course built here.
Now, did you also have a vision of where this would be located?
Good question. It'd be nice to keep it centralized. Like, you have a rink, you have a ball field, you have a clubhouse down there too. I'm not a landowner at all, basically, but if we're talking court size, right? You're talking 6 courts. Like, look at the size of 2 tennis courts. I'll say 2.5 size tennis courts in that same area, basically.
Right. Yeah. So you're probably thinking of the area, the landmass right across from where the old Legion was. Is that where you're thinking?
Yes.
Or the old, what we call the penning. The penning.
Exactly.
That's
Yes.
Your vision is down there.
Yeah, Ivan and I talked about it briefly. I've never seen that property per se.
Yeah.
However, it sounds like a excellent.
That's
positioning
about
for
the
it.
only spot in town that we would own, I think, that would be able, well, that would fit
So the
recreation
town owns that
anyway.
already, do they?
Yes.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So that's the ask basically, is to partner
I'm
with you
surprised
people.
I'm surprised it was only $35,000. Of course, as you say, that was a few years ago.
Well,
but
keep in
things-
mind too, they had the courts there already, there are tennis courts there.
Oh,
So they
okay.
paid for the rubberized surface.
Oh, okay.
They paid for the nets, they paid for the labor, they paid for the fencing.
Oh,
So,
okay.
and again, I don't want to mislead you
Yeah.
in terms of, from a monetary perspective, how it's going to, look at the end of the day type of thing.
Yeah, because I know.
I don't know.
Yeah, the tennis courts and the pickleball courts
Yep.
are up at the school. We probably put that much money into just our own money, town money, into just getting those operational. We had to get the province to do some stuff too, but.
Yes.
But we have,
But I think
stuff
that's where
up and
this,
did stuff there.
I think that's where this legacy fund,
Yeah.
would be easily accessible.
All right, council, any questions? Councilor McRae?
So would you have a committee where someone would be looking after it, collecting the money, doing all of that the town would have to
Yeah,
look after it?
We would be basically
So-
independent.
So you'd be looking after it yourself?
The Summerside, and my wife is on the Summerside executive, so they meet, I think, every 3 or 4 months, and they collect the dues, and they maintain the place, and they open it up, and they close it up, and they have their own, basically, bylaws in terms of who can play, when they can play, items like that, too.
And you would have the same committee for
No
Kensington?
different, no different whatsoever. It's not broke, if it's not broke, why fix it? If it ain't broke, why fix it, type of thing. I think it works very well in Summerside, and they were the first club on the island, too. And again, their membership's increasing proportionally. But yeah, we would, I cannot see the town of Kensington being involved, if that's what you're asking, from a daily, weekly, monthly basis. Does that answer your question?
More involved to try to get the money to get the thing built and then.
That's it.
Okay.
That's bottom line, that's it.
All right.
And it doesn't mean too, we can do our own fundraising too. Like, I'm a firm believer, if you want something, you gotta give something. Like, I'm not a believer in, here's my hand, what do I get? That's not the way I like it.
Well, and I don't know if we know what that legacy, all the regulations on the legacy fund, I don't know if there's money that you have to come up with, maybe you have to come up with 20. Typically, anytime we look for money, we
Yep.
always got to come up with 25 or 30% of it ourselves, so it's,
Well,
so that's one of the things that I don't know about
Sure.
this legacy fund, whether it's 100%,
The
75%.
I think the only thing that, and I don't want to speak to everyone here, I apologize. The only thing we would need, I went to the Legacy Fund webpage to log in and start the process, but they're looking for a tax number and everything else too. So it's more back-end type of thing too,
Yeah.
which is where I think the town of Kensington can just sit with us and say, yeah, here's what we do, here's what you're asking for, here's how much money we're looking for and all that stuff. But again, I'm going into this semi-blind type of thing.
No, we understand that. That's, any other questions, council? Mr. Baker, do you have any? Oh, Councilor Glad?
Thank you, Your Worship. I just want to thank the group for coming. I'm a member of this group, so I don't think I'm in a conflict of interest, just to say a few words here. But pickleball is a big go here in Kensington now, just since I started playing maybe a year and a half or 2 years ago. And people like Lorraine McDonald has really got it off the ground here a few years ago, and some other people helping her as well. And I just wanted to add to Paul's presentation is that I did personally, I was talking to our MLA here a few days ago on something different, and so I just brought it to his attention, and he said he would be more than willing to support anything that we put forward with the provincial government through the legacy fund for the Canada Games. Thank you.
Thank you.
And off on a tangent, if you've ever seen Ivan play, he's definitely not in a conflict.
I see.
His wife Betty,
I didn't know he was old
Yes.
enough to play.
we have no age restriction, thank goodness. Thank goodness.
Mr. Baker, do you have any questions?
No, I don't have any questions. To your point that you made earlier about there being no Canada Games infrastructure in the town, in reviewing the regulations around the Legacy Fund, communities that contributed financially to the Canada Games, which we did, I believe we contributed $20,000 to the Canada Games as a community. And so you're on the mark. We did not get any infrastructure around that. There were no events held in our community. And I read that communities in that position will be given priority in the fund. Yeah.
All right. Any other comments that you want to leave with us? And this will probably come up, I'm not sure how, whether, usually these things will get discussed in committee.
Sure.
So we'll leave it at that point.
Sounds good.
But if there's any other comments, then you're more than welcome to make them now. Yes. Do you want to just go to the microphone, please? Sorry about that, but.
I would just like to say that we do appreciate what has been done up at the school, and it is being used, and there are teams that play there.
Good.
This would just be as an improvement.
And it is, yep, we understand. Good, appreciate that comment. All right, well, if there's nothing else, you are more than welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting. We invite all our guests to stay, but in all honesty, I don't think, there might have been once that somebody stayed a little longer than their presentation. But it is an open meeting, and you're more than welcome to stay if you wish. If not, you're more than welcome to retire, so. Thank you. All right, thanks. Thanks for coming, and thanks for your presentation. All right, good night. Good night. See ya. Okay, council, let's move on to item number 5, which is the minutes for May 13th regular council meeting. Those minutes are before you. Are there any errors or omissions in the minutes of May the 13th? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to adopt those minutes. So moved by Councillor Glant, seconded by Deputy Mayor Spencer. All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Additionally, we had a special council meeting on May the 27th. Those minutes are before you. Are there any errors or omissions in the minutes of May the 27th? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to adopt them as presented. So moved by Councillor Toombs, seconded by Councillor Doucette, or Councillor McCrae, pardon me. All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you. Any business arising out of the minutes of May the 13th? Hearing none, what about May the 27th meeting? Hearing none, we'll move right along to the Chief Administrative Officer's report. That report is before you. Are there any questions, Council, on the Chief Administrative Officer's report as of May? Hearing none, no comments from you, Mr. Baker, to add? Then I would entertain a motion to adopt the report, receive and adopt the report as presented. So moved by Councillor McCrae, seconded by Deputy Mayor Spencer. All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, Council. The next report is the Fire Department statistical report. That report is before you. Are there any questions on the Fire Department report? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to adopt that report as presented. So moved by Councillor Toombs, seconded by Councillor McCrae. All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Next report is the Police Department statistical report. That report is before you, Council. Any questions? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to adopt that report as presented. So moved by Councillor Toombs, seconded by Deputy Mayor Spencer. All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Chief, did you have anything further to bring to our attention?
Can I use this?
Yes, you may. Turn on the microphone, please. Just hit the button in the middle. There you go. You're on. Nope.
Okay.
There.
I just want to thank everyone who was around for the fishing derby last weekend. We didn't get as many fish as I'd have liked, but we can't help that. But it was thank you for everybody that came and helped out. On the whole, it was a success. There's over 100 people there, so pretty happy with that. But I just want to mention that our bicycle rodeo is this weekend, and we are going to start registration at 8:30 on Saturday morning. If you guys, I know you offered to come, Roman, you're going to be, your worship, you're going to be there. I'll have someone with you to help with the checking of the bikes. Anybody else that can come, the credit union is supposed to be doing the barbecue, but I'm sure there'll be enough of us around if that something happens, they can't do it. So right now, as of tonight, we have 64 bikes to give away at the rodeo. It's the best we've ever had. It's tremendous, the support we get from the community, and not only here, some of them come from Summerside. So I'm really excited about that. So we're going to give the bikes away on next Monday morning at 9 o'clock. So they may have to give us a little more time with that many bikes. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say, and just if you can give us a hand on Saturday morning, that would be great.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Councillor Toombs?
Just one thing that I mentioned earlier was a resident had mentioned about some ATVs coming in. It was a couple of weeks ago coming in Charlottetown Road. It was in the evening or 8:30, 9:30, because they wondered if we had passed anything to allow them. And I said, no, we haven't. So just to keep an eye if that happened. I don't know if you heard of it.
ATV?
Yeah, they said it was in the evening, and they didn't bother them. They were more concerned about, thought somebody might get hit or something. It was dark or dusky, you know. And so I'll just bring that to your attention. And also, I'd like to thank the police services for the fishing derby. I thought it was a well-run, great job, and everybody seemed to have a fun time. And you know, give credit to everybody over there and yourself. I mean, every year it's a good time, and can't control the weather or the fish,
No.
but I think everybody has a good time.
So we have to get our thank yous out to the people for our sponsors. Do that. I'll get that done first next week. This week's been really busy, and it'll all get done, and we'll do the bicycle rodeo at the same time. So that's good.
Yeah. That's it, Chief. Thank you.
I'm going to take
All right.
off.
Oh, Councillor Glant?
Thank you, Worship. I just want to echo Councillor Toombs' remarks as well. Thank the police department in Kensington for the things such as the fishing derby and the bike rodeo and all those things. I think that's a very important part of our policing, where, you know, it's awareness too, and gets some of the young people involved, and they know the police are there to do good things to help them grow as well. So I think I just hope that our police department continues to do those type of things for many years. Thanks.
Thank you.
Me as well. Thanks.
All right. If there's nothing else all right, thanks, Chief. That is the police department report. We'll move right along to the next item, which is the development permit summer report. That report is before you. Are there any questions on the report? You'll notice that we've got $16.8 million in development permits issued now. Councillor Glant.
Thank you, Worship. It's I just noticed it here, and I was going to bring it up once before. When it comes to, and I don't know if it's under development or not, but fencing in the town of Kensington, and maybe our CEO could answer this in regards to someone putting the fence up and
On their property, you mean?
on their property or between properties. Is it? And I had this question put to me. When they put a fence up, they got to keep the, I don't know what you'd call it, the good side, but I guess the side facing the public or other people's properties to those people, and keep the posts and so on facing their property. Is that correct? And if so, apparently there's been a couple of fences went up in town that hasn't happened to. So I just wonder if that's right.
Mr. Baker, do you want to address that?
I'm not sure I can. We have no regulation on it. The only regulation we would have is that any fence 6 feet in height or higher requires a permit. As far as any other regulations around fences, what side should be facing what, where the fence should be located on the property, our bylaw is silent on it. If anybody calls here in regards to a fence, we'll always give them best practice information, which is, I mean, fences are a tough one, really. We encourage people to keep fences in off the property line a foot or two. People are hesitant to do that for obvious reasons. Once the fence goes there, people in most instances believe that that's where the property line is, and so they start to use the other person's property as if it's their own. So I really don't have an answer for your question. I don't know if there is any sort of regulation out there that says the face of the fence has to be on one side or the other. We certainly have no regulation on it. No. We do tell people that good fences make good neighbors, and we tell people to keep in mind that you need to be able to give yourself room to do maintenance on the fence. So essentially, if you wanted to paint the other side of the fence, or if you needed to do maintenance on the other side of the fence, if it sits on the property line, then you have to go on to somebody else's property to be able to effect that repair, and sometimes that's okay, and other times, if it's two neighbors that don't get along, then that's not okay. So, but again, as far as what side faces what, we have no regulation on it. No.
All right. That answer all questions? All right. Hearing if there's no questions on the development permit summary report, I would entertain a motion to adopt it as presented. So moved by Councillor Toombs, seconded by Deputy Mayor Spencer. All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, Council. We'll move right along to the Credit Union Center report. That report is before you. Are there any questions, Council? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to adopt the report for April as presented. So moved by Councillor McCray, seconded by Councillor Toombs. All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you. The Federation of Prince Edward Island Municipal, no, pardon me, we might have the mayor's report first. The mayor's report is before you. The only comment I wanted to mention is draw your attention to, trust you've read it all, and the Imperial Street issue that is being looked at and being addressed at this date. Mr. Baker, you don't have anything new to add other than what I've got in my report?
No, other than the fact I can't recall if you put in there that I had ordered a survey of
Yes,
of the right of way.
that's in there.
Yep. I haven't received the
Read my
survey.
report. Okay. Caught him. Sorry, Mr. Baker, I just couldn't refuse. Anyway, that issue has to be addressed one way or another, and because we are using somebody else's property and they are not prepared to sell it, so therefore we can probably see something taking place. Mr. Baker is planning to bring something for committee, hopefully later this month, if we have the meeting. Any questions on the mayor's report, Council? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to adopt the report as presented. So moved by Deputy Mayor Spencer, seconded by Councillor McCray. All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you. Now we'll get into the Federation of Prince Edward Island Municipalities. Councillor Mann.
Well, thank you, Worship. Well, at the last meeting, we held our vice president election, and I'm still the vice president of the Federation.
Congratulations.
We appointed our airport authority board member. It's going to be Pam Montgomery as well, again for this term. We went over the municipal infrastructure guidelines, and they gave us an update on the RME insurance. That they're still working out some legalities and stuff of it, and the big thing, I guess, I see it on the desk here, is the announcement of the municipal infrastructure fund on June
Right.
13th.
Right. I'll mention a little more about that in my remarks or
So.
in other comments.
And that's
All
it.
right. Are there any questions of Councillor Mann? Fine. We'll move along to the Kensington Area Chamber of Commerce report. Councillor McCray, do you have anything to report?
Thank you, Your Worship. No, actually, I don't have anything to report. Everything that I've pretty well been attending, you've been attending, so it's all in your report. So there's no sense of repeating it all.
All right.
Thank you.
Good enough. Thank you. And now we'll move along to our new Deputy Mayor, Jeff Spencer, being the representative for Heart of PEI, and I'm sure he's got all kinds of things to report. You haven't even had a meeting, have you?
You're right, Your Worship. We've not had a meeting. I did get an email just welcoming me to the committee, and I've just reviewed the minutes, but nothing else to report.
All right, thank you. Okay, we'll move right along to request for decisions. The first item is request for decision number 2024-22. That is the request we discussed in committee, and that's the request from the Kensington Lions Club. They're celebrating their 70th anniversary and looking for a financial contribution. Any discussion on the information that's presented, Council? Hearing none, who wants to read into the record the resolution? Councillor Toombs, go right ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Be it resolved that Town Council authorize a $1,000 financial contribution to the Kensington Lions Club for their 70th anniversary celebration scheduled for November 2024.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder for that resolution? Second by Councillor McCrae. All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you. The next one is request for decision 2024-23, which is a request from the PEI 2024 Queer Ride and Meetup. And this year they are planning to start. Last year they ended in Kensington. This year they're planning to start in Kensington. They haven't got the location set yet, but they're working on that. And I'm not sure. I think they're planning to go around the North Shore and then end up probably in Charlottetown. Last year we were a destination sponsor, and the recommendation, it didn't come before council, but the recommendation is that we look at being a destination sponsor again this year in the amount of $360. Council, is there any discussion or or any questions on the information that's before you? Hearing none, Deputy Mayor Spencer?
I'll read it
Okay.
into the record. I move that Kensington Town Council sponsor the PEI 2024 Queer Ride and Meetup at the destination sponsor level in the amount of $360.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder for that resolution? Seconded by Councilor McCrae. Any discussion, Council? Hearing none, all those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, Council. The next is a request for decision number 2024-24, which is the authorizing resolution for application to be put into the Rural Growth Initiative funding program. That information is before you. Are there any questions that need clarification on that request for decision, Council? Hearing none, who wants to read into the record the resolution? Councillor Mann, go right ahead.
Be it resolved that Kensington Town Council authorize staff to proceed with submitting a Rural Growth Initiative funding program application to the province of Prince Edward Island to fund the 2024-2025 Fire Department Credit Union Center and Town Capital Upgrades projects, and that the project be designated as priority number 1. Town Council understands and commits that it will be responsible for its designated share of the total eligible costs of the project and will assume responsibility for any and all operations and maintenance costing resulting from the project.
Thank you, Councillor Mann. Do we have a seconder for that resolution? Seconded by Councillor Toombs. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, Council. The last request for decision is request for decision number 2024-25 is the appointment of Remuneration and Allowances Commission. Council, do you have any questions of that information that's being presented there? And if so, we'll direct them to Mr. Baker. Deputy Mayor Spencer.
The only question I had is, would we want to put in the terms of reference like a report back by date?
That is all going to be part of the,
Okay.
I think that Mr. Baker, I think you're looking at 60 days.
60 days was my thought
Yeah,
process.
I just
Yep.
didn't see it in here.
To enable us to, depending on what the report says, do first reading to a bylaw in the September-October timeframe.
So Mr. Baker would be drafting, what do you call them? Terms of reference for this. Any other questions, Council? Councillor Glant?
Just, thank you, Your Worship. Just regarding the people that were named here for the commission or for the, I guess it's a commission, for those, I know government, we've since found out that it's government or municipal rules that we have to have a commission, which is fine, and I firmly believe that this is something that should happen. Just curious as to how we come up with these names and the amount that we pay towards them. Is that something that's law as well, or is that, did the government appoint these, or did we pick them ourselves, or how'd that work?
Mr. Baker?
Essentially, I picked them. They're just three names that, three people that I've dealt with throughout the years that I felt were generally supportive in dealings, reasonable, level-headed, and expressed an interest in taking this on. So those are just names that I came up with. As far as the honorarium for them, again, is a number that I came up with. It's going to be some work involved, obviously, for them, depending on the extent of the terms of reference. But I anticipate they will contact town councillors, they'll contact the mayor, they'll have a conversation with myself, they'll review honorariums from other municipalities, they'll look at and review information that'll be provided by me with some history around honorariums and what they've been and how they've increased or decreased, as the case may be, through the years. So that is literally just a number that I came up with as what I considered reasonable compensation for taking on that sort of a role and producing a report at the end of the 60-day period.
Councillor Glant?
Thank you, and that's fair. I just was wondering how we come up with them. I obviously only know one out of the three, and that being the chairperson. And I know from past experience in meetings myself, and the individual is quite capable of doing something like this. So certainly glad to see him there and as chairperson, because with his experience, I'm sure he'll lead that whole group in the right direction, and I'm glad to hear as well that they would be, contacting whether it be councillors or past councillors or whoever they might talk to as well, because I'm a firm believer that this is something that we need to do to attract council or good council members in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions, Council? Your mic's still on, Councillor Glant. Any other questions, Council? Hearing none, who wants to read into the record the resolution? Deputy Mayor Spencer, go right ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. Be it resolved, the Town Council appoint a three-person remuneration and allowances commission for the purpose of reviewing current remuneration levels for elected officials as required under Section 82 of the Municipal Government Act, consisting of the following members: Jim Blanchard, Chairperson; Deborah O'Brien; Klaus Schmidt. Be it further resolved, the Town Council establish an honorarium for the Remuneration and Allowances Commission in the amount of $1,000 per member.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder for that resolution? Seconded by Councillor Glant. Any discussion, Council? Hearing none. All those in favor? Motion carried. Just put your hands up, I think. Okay. Motion carried unanimously. Hands are going up and down before I get a chance to see them all. Thank you, Council. All right. Other matters, I just wanted to, there's a couple of things. At the last, not sure if it was committee or council meeting, the question was asked about the condition of the train engine, and I just wanted to let you know that I have been in touch with them again, and they're still looking on they're trying to get money to do some work on it, and I am hopeful, and they are hopeful to be able to get something done on it this year. They recognize that it's in a sad state of affairs, and they want us to have something done to it. And so I'm actually confident that something will be done this year, but I have nothing more to say other than a level of confidence. It's all depending on them getting money from whoever they get the money from. It's probably from the provincial government. Anyway, sufficient to say that they are still working on it, and we are hoping that something does happen this year, because it's looking bad. Any questions on that? And the other one is, as you all have on your desk, the invitation to, as Councillor Mann had mentioned, the invitation to the Federation PEI Municipalities, invitation to the infrastructure announcement regarding housing. That you will recall back in, how many years ago? 2018? 17, 18? Town Council passed a resolution to request the Federation of PEI Municipalities to approach the provincial government and try to get some money to support development of subdivisions or land that is in rural areas that has water and sewer services, and to try to help subsidize some of the cost, because as we all know, the cost of developing a subdivision is about the same here as it is in Charlottetown, but the selling price is not quite the same. And this is, since the town of Kensington was the original resolution, the original sponsor of this, they are coming to Kensington to announce it. We are, I guess I'm assuming that the announcement is going to be close to what we have been asking for. We will find out. I don't know 100% what the whole infrastructure announcement is going to be, other than what it's around that, and I hope it's what we were looking for. So anyway, you're all invited to it. You don't have to respond to this is what's going out to the other government ministers and that, but you're all invited to be there at 11 o'clock, and there will be several ministers there from the province and deputy ministers. If it rains, we will be using the freight shed, so they are aware of that. So we're praying for good weather, and they're anticipating there could be as many as 50 people there. So I would invite you all to join us on that particular day. The other thing, well, Mr. Police Chief mentioned the bike rodeo, so we already know about that one. Remember, the public meeting on the rezoning of that land for Provincial Credit Union is booked for June the 26th at 6 p.m. here in Council Chambers, correct? That's still on?
June 26th, yeah.
Okay, so just make sure you got that in your calendars. And the other one question I had is, do we want on our Committee of Council meeting coming up on June the 24th, that actually happens to be the graduation day and evening of Kish graduation. And we do know that we have 2 of our staff have children graduating there this year, and that may be a little bit of a challenge to have our council meeting that night, Committee of Council meeting that night. Do we want to cancel the meeting subject to us having to call another special meeting at some point in time to deal with any issues that come up? Normally we don't meet in July and August, but I'm asking, should we just cancel the June meeting? Because yes, Councillor Toombs?
Do you need a motion, or what are you looking for? I'll move that we cancel the June Committee of Council meeting.
All right, do we have a seconder?
Due to the
Second by
graduation.
Councilor McCrae. All right, and just before I know we do have the presentation that was made here tonight. This is going to take some research on the part of Mr. Baker anyway before then. So if we do cancel this, we may end up having to call a special Committee of Council meeting sometime before September kind of thing. So just keep that in mind, that if we're canceling this one, there could be another one, special one called. So that'll be the risk reward. Any questions, council? Any concerns? Did you have anything, Mr. Baker? All right. That being the case, all those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. That's all the other matters that I had. Anyone else have any other matters? Councillor Glant.
Thank you, Worship. I won't be able to attend this announcement, unfortunately, on Thursday, because I won't be in town at the time. But anyway, I'd like to be there, but I can't be there. And just a couple of other things I want to bring up. I know I spoke to Jeff prior to the meeting regarding a couple of properties that had been brought to my attention. Not only brought to my attention, obviously I've seen them in most other councillors probably as well, regarding the looks of them, regarding grass in town, and you say that at least one of them is going to be looked at in the next day or two, and that's good. But there's one property that has been brought to my attention on a couple of different occasions, and I guess I was planning on bringing it up at committee of council, and I forgot to write it down. And I'm not sure the address, but I know where I can describe where it's at. On the, I think, the second house from the corner of Andrews Drive and Highway 2, and there seems to be a fair amount of garbage and I don't know what else around the property there, and I'm sure a couple of the neighbors up there are not enjoying it that much, so I'm not sure what our bylaw says for that type of thing, or whether we can at least take a look at it and see if there is something under our bylaws that can have that property tidied up a bit. Thanks.
All right, Mr. Baker, you're making a note of that? Okay, gotcha. All right, is that it, Councillor Glant? Okay. Councillor McCray?
Thank you, Your Worship. I actually got a couple of emails on the same property you were talking about, and I was going to ask the same thing, if somebody have a look at it. There's
Okay.
pretty upset neighbors up there.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other matters? Councillor Toombs?
Just to follow up on, I was talking to Jeff, Mr. Baker, about the container. Just wondering if you managed to take a look at that, or if you saw what I was talking about, where it's...
Mr. Baker?
Yeah, I did go down and look at it. I meant to ask you to go down and take a look at it as well, but it slipped my mind. It's only supposed to be there for a couple of weeks, so I didn't take any action on it. I felt that the sight lines were still okay to see down the street, so I didn't do anything with it. Yeah.
Where was that?
It's the old. Yeah.
Oh, right,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah.
I just found it when I come up there, myself anyways, that when you look to the left, there's a government sign there, and you always kind of look just, and if the container was just a couple of feet in a little bit, just happened to be where it would just make it a little easier looking that way. I know it wasn't going to be there for a long time, it's just, you know.
All right. Any other matters, council? Moving right along to correspondence. The first item of correspondence is a thank you from the Prince County Hospital Foundation for our donation, our annual donation, and a receipt. So we received that for information. The second one is it's information that there's a new community concert band been formed in Summerside, and they are having a concert at the Summerside Intermediate School on Wednesday, June the 12th at 7 p.m. And this information came in from Kim Knight-Picketts, and she wanted us all to know, and it's their inaugural concert, and they'll be collecting any donations in support of the community, Summerside Community Fridge. So I wanted council all to be aware of that, and of course anybody who's listening online, you are now aware of it as well. So Summerside Intermediate School, June the 12th, 7 p.m., the Summerside, the Community Concert Band in Summerside. Receive that for information. The next item is the Rural Beautification. This is a new award, the Community Spirit People's Choice Award, and I'm going to, we have the potential as a town to win $1,000 for that, and unless you say otherwise, I'm planning to put an application in as the mayor of the town, and from August the 15th to September the 15th, we want to get every one of you and all your friends and anybody in town to vote for Kensington and see if we can win that $1,000. So it's rally the cause at that point in time, and we may actually win $1,000 towards more, well, probably flower beds and things like that. That was where we'd probably put the money. So if council has got no problems with that, I will plan to send that application in. We do have to spend $20 to send it in, and I think we could probably front the thing for $20. Any concerns, council? I got your permission to go ahead? Yeah, Deputy Mayor Spencer?
One question, Your Worship. If it's a voting thing, could that be something that we put on our town website to encourage people to
We'll
vote
have-
when that time, when it
Yeah, we'll
opens?
have to try and, we'll count on everything we can possibly do to try and get people to vote for us. And we only have to, towns will be competing against towns.
Okay.
Rural municipalities will be competing against rural municipalities, so we'll be competing against only towns, not cities. But Cornwall's a town, Stratford's a town, so we do have some big competitors there. Anyway, that we'll plan on moving that forward. The other one is a thank you from the Coldest Night of the Year thank you card, which you all have received, and they were very appreciative of our contribution this year, and I forget what they said they raised. It was a fair amount of money. It was thousands of dollars, wasn't it? So it went to good cause. And the next one is a thank you from the Kensington Intermediate Senior High on our donation towards the Relay for Life. And they raised over $24,000, which I also had in my report. So that is all the correspondence I had. Councillor Toombs. No, pardon me, Councillor Glant. I'm sorry, Councillor Glant.
Thank you, Your Worship. That's all right. I've been
Even called worse.
When I'm reading the beautification, or when you're talking about the beautification award there, it just kind of reminded me of something. Like I say, our park up behind the pool there, the Centennial Park, I guess it's called. Just come down there a couple of times lately. Just wondering about and you could take a look at it as well, anyone else, if we may want to do a little bit of tree pruning in that park and just tidy it up a little bit. It's a nice park, and I'm not sure, I can't remember if other years, do we have a couple of benches or anything in there that people could actually just sit in there and you know,
We used
it's
to have picnic tables in there, I think, at one time. I'm not sure if they're still there or not. Are they, Mr. Baker, or are you going to check?
I'm not sure if they're there or not, but typically we would put a couple of tables there, yeah. But I don't know if they've been placed there this year or not.
All right, thank you. And one of the other things I should mention is Mr. Wood, Robert Wood, is going to be putting in he might have already done it, I think it's a community, it's for the rink anyway, there's a chance to win a prize for some of the upgrades and everything we've done to the rink. He's going to be putting in an application to the Rural Beautification Society on that one as well. He may have already done it. I don't know. I know I mentioned it to you and mentioned it to Robert, and he was going to do it anyway. So we may end up winning that one as well. That is all the correspondence. That's all that I have for the meeting tonight. If there is nothing else, I will look for a motion to adjourn. So move. That's a toss-up. I think Councillor Glant got the hand up first. Moved by Councillor Glant, seconded by Councillor Toombs. All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you all.
You think I didn't read your report? How do you think the spelling mistakes got fixed?
Well, I was wondering, you said you read it, but you didn't, you read it, but you didn't absorb